Welcome to Times Network. I'm Priya Parekh and we are at FII in Riyadh. And I have with me the man behind this mega event, Richard Attias. Firstly, a very big congratulations to you on this mega event.
Thank
What would
you.
you like to say?
Thank you for being here. Thank you for having us. We're always very happy to have Indian media with us. As you know, this conference started 8 years ago. Time is flying. And the DNA of the FII is to be the place where all leaders, all entrepreneurs, all NGOs, and all media, thank you for being here, from all over the world, convene during 3-4 days to understand the state of the global economy, to understand where investors should put their money in terms of geographies and in terms of sectors, and also to know more about the trends of our global economy. So it's a great global conversation, inclusive, because everyone from Asia, Europe, America, Latin America, Middle East, and Africa are here, which is extremely important to understand also how the geoeconomics is moving forward.
Absolutely. So I would also ask you to explain a little bit what is FII for the people who are still getting to know about it. You are the best person to talk about.
No, thank you. FII is the flagship conference of the FII Institute. FII Institute is a not-for-profit foundation which was created a few years ago, which wants to have an impact on humanity. And the only way to have an impact in humanity is to invest on humanity. This is why we are trying to be a driving force, a catalyst, a curator of global conversations on indexes, reports, on initiatives with tangible outcomes. Also, we want to have a humble investment arm to support startups on how to have an impact on our humanity. So we have 3 main pillars: AI and robotics. In fact, we are also sustainability and education as much as healthcare. So with all these pillars, we are trying to really support multiple initiatives which are tangible and that we monitor every year to see how they have an impact on local communities.
Wonderful. And I heard you locked some really big deal this week. Would you like to tell us more about that?
About, sorry?
Some really big deals that
Oh,
you have locked.
yes. For the past 7 years,
Yes.
almost $120 billion, US dollars, of deals were achieved and signed during the 7 past edition. Only this year, more than $28 billion of deals were achieved. Because, as I told you, this is not just a place for conversation or discussions or sessions, but also the place of great networking. And usually people are happy to start some conversation before FII and to conclude and announce these deals during FII, which became today, in total humility, probably by far the #1 global conference on geoeconomics.
It was a packed event, definitely. So how has the week been? How were the 3 days? How would you describe it?
Oh, the conference itself?
Yes.
To be honest, I would say it was a magic moment, you know.
Absolutely.
And despite the current situation in terms of geopolitics that we cannot ignore, as you know, many conflicts, even wars, are happening around us, not just in this region, but in Europe and some other conflicts also in Africa. And despite all of that, the business community is extremely resilient. The business community is extremely optimistic. They want to move forward. As I said, the message I got from them is the show must go on. We will not have this political conflict stopping our humanity. Technology is everywhere. Technology is helping for progress. AI is everywhere. AI will disrupt multiple economies. India will play a big role. We know how India is one of the pioneers on technologies. So this is why we're very happy to host also many Indian businessmen. We hope to have much more in the next few years because Riyadh is very close to India, as you know, and with a country which has 1.2 billion people and much more soon, it's extremely important to have the Indian businessmen being part of these global conversations.
While we are on this topic, what are your future plans with regards to India?
Oh, you know, we are looking very much so at India. We think that one day we will organize also one of our FII Priority Summit, which is like a regional conferences in India. We are definitely talking to many Indian leaders. We are very happy to have a great partnership with Reliance, with Mukesh Ambani, close friend, and many other Indian leaders. So India is definitely in our radar, and it's a place which is one of the biggest players. It's a G20 country as Saudi Arabia. So definitely we are exploring many things that we can do with India and in India.
Anything specifically any big news that we can expect from you right now with regards to India?
No, India is definitely, as I said, in our radar. And as soon as we will have the annual conference FI behind us, we will discuss with my colleagues from the board of FI Institute about what can we do next. We have our conference in Miami in February. We'll probably have another one in Europe. And then in Asia, it will be the second half of the year 2025. And you will be the first one to know where it will be and when it will be.
Okay. So talking about FII 8, it is also known as Davos in the desert. So I want to know why Riyadh? What was the idea behind it?
Number one, people are calling it Davos in the desert because, as you probably know, for more than 30 years, I was the executive producer of the Davos Forum. So it was quite easy to make this similarity. The desert, because it's a cleaning around us, not just in this region, but in Europe and some other conflicts, also in Africa. And despite all of that, the business community is extremely resilient. The business community is extremely optimistic. They want to move forward. As I said, the message I got from them is the show must go on. We will not have this political conflict stopping our humanity. Technology is everywhere. Technology is helping for progress. AI is everywhere. AI will disrupt multiple economies. India will play a big role. We know how India is one of the pioneers on technologies. So this is why we're very happy to host also many Indian businessmen. We hope to have much more in the next few years because Riyadh is very close to India, as you know, and with a country which has 1.2 billion people and much more soon, it's extremely important to have the Indian businessmen being part of these global conversations.
While we are on this topic, what are your future plans with regards to India?
Oh, we are looking very much so at India. We think that one day we will organize also one of our FII Priority Summit, which is like a regional conferences in India. We are definitely talking to many Indian leaders. We are very happy to have a great partnership with Reliance, with Mukesh Ambani, close friend, and many other Indian leaders. So India is definitely in our radar, and it's a place which is one of the biggest players. It's a G20 country as Saudi Arabia. So definitely we are exploring many things that we can do with India and in India.
Anything specifically any big news that we can expect from you right now with regards to India?
No, India is definitely, as I said, in our radar. And as soon as we will have the annual conference FI behind us, we will discuss with my colleagues from the board of FI Institute about what can we do next. We have our conference in Miami in February. We'll probably have another one in Europe. And then in Asia, it will be the second half of the year 2025. And you will be the first one to know where it will be and when it will be.
Okay. So talking about FII 8, it is also known as Davos in the desert. So I want to know why Riyadh? What was the idea behind it?
Number one, people are calling it Davos in the desert because, as you probably know, for more than 30 years, I was the executive producer of the Davos Forum. So it was quite easy to make this similarity. The desert, because it's a cliche. When we think or we speak about the Arabic Peninsula, people think it's a big desert. But you are here in Riyadh. It is one of the most developed and modern cities and capital in the world. And it's progressing. You see here amazing achievement in terms of new developments. So this is a cliche, to be honest, but we don't mind. It's always good to have comparison with great benchmarks. But the, I would say, important things is that Riyadh, number one, is a global hub. If you look at the world map, you see that Riyadh is really the barycenter between north and south, between west and east. And when you see this global shift between West and East in terms of economy, the emergence of the global South, and India is one of these key players on the global South, Riyadh is probably the best location to be the catalyst and the connector.
Talking about Riyadh, why do you think Saudi Arabia can offer better business and investment opportunities than places like, let's say, Dubai?
Oh, it's not having comparison. All cities, all countries have their moment in terms of economic transformation, economic development. China, it was 20, 30 years ago.
Yes.
The development of the UAE was 15 years ago, So now we have this big Vision 2030, which started almost 10 years ago, which is an amazing roadmap for a country of 35 million inhabitants plus, which is growing and developing all sectors. It is a country, a kingdom in motion.
Yes.
I'm calling the kingdom of Saudi Arabia the kingdom of energy, not because of the oil, but the energy of people. It is a vibrant society. You have a very strong leadership who has an amazing vision. Everyone is behind the leader and His Majesty, of course, to make this country becoming not just a G20 country, but one of the most advanced, modern, open, and active nation in the world.
Of course, and we all witnessed the hospitality. One last question. If you have any ideas or any message that you want to give to young Indian entrepreneurs?
Oh, definitely. I think the collaboration between Indian entrepreneurs and the people from the region, and Saudi in particular, will make 1 + 1 = 3.
Yes.
It will be a win-win situation because there is a lot to learn from the Indian young entrepreneurs. No one ignore that India was one and is one of the most, I would say, innovative and creative country in terms of technologies and so on. So I think it's important to share the best practices. The countries are very close one to the other. So I would say that it will be an amazing partnership between Indian entrepreneurs and Saudi entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurship is now part of the culture of the young Saudi people. It's a country where you have more than 70% of the population is under the age of 25. So it is a reservoir of talents and very well educated, very, I would say, dynamic, and they want to succeed. So you will see more and more innovation coming from this part of the world. And believe me, we are always talking about unicorns. You will see very soon some unicorns coming from this part of the world also.
Thank you so much for talking to Times Network.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.